So this isn't anti-medication or pro-medication. This is just about other ways of taking care of our mental health.
I'm exactly like you guys now. When she's going crystal therapy, gong therapy, reading all this, I'm thinking, what in the world am I going to hear? And obviously I do what I do, so I'm not saying, I expect people to be saying, oh, what can you expect? You're putting all that junk into your body.
Hello, yes, we're back. It is Mental Health Gym this week. And we're back for another workout.
Back at the gym. You know what? I do like this gym. I was a bit sceptical at first, all right, because I'm thinking to myself, why do I need to go to the gym? Obviously, obvious reasons, get rid of some belly. But the fact that we get a lot of comments in about this still, and people sending us private messages. Obviously, we do get some people that disagree with what we're doing, but like we say every time, we are not mental health professionals. It is just our life experiences, sharing them with you guys. We're not forcing it on you. We're not forcing it down your neck. So if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it.
And obviously, on last week's show, we had the police interceptor star, Ben Pearson, who has spoken very openly about his mental health, and he put a post on the other day, championing the fact that he'd started therapy that day, which I think is good because, you know me, I kind of go, well, even when I'm not bad, I still see a therapist because I just think it's like with your physical health, I maintain that every day. It's just maintaining your mental health.
Yeah. So and Sophie's smiling at me right now because, I've I would say I have difficulties. I have mental health issues. I have things that get me down, just in general life, and I don't mind saying that. And I think when we were sat here last time and we were sat with Ben, it was a bit weird because we sort of had this bro thing going on where we were looking at each other and sort of thinking, yeah, I know, I can see, and I can see his pain, and I think he could sort of see mine as well. And it's like, I mean, things hit you in life sometimes, don't they? And they just knock you for 10, and you think things are going all right, and then all of a sudden, bang, something happens, and you're like, oh God. So I mean, it's like with me, I went to doctors and to be honest, I think I'm still struggling to come to terms with it. But obviously, I'm a big guy. I know I'm a big guy, and I'm carrying a lot of weight around, and I have a lot of pain in my knees, as you know, and a bit of ibuprofen usually keeps it off. But over the past few months, it's got a bit worse, and I've been getting a little bit more active, and I think it's sort of flared it up. And now I've been told I'm 43-year-old, I've got a bit of arthritis in my knees. So it's a bit, sometimes stuff like that, you think to yourself, I'm 43. And obviously I do what I do, so I'm not saying, I expect people to be saying, oh, what can you expect? You're putting all that junk into your body. But I've always been a big lad, as you know, and I do try to eat healthy outside, and I don't eat that much food, do I? This is the thing, people.
No, not at all. You really eat small portions. Your portion size and sleeping is great, whereas mine, however.
Yeah, and I don't, I don't binge out on stuff. So sometimes even if I have a kebab, I don't eat it all. I don't, I won't sit there and just mosh it all down. And I think it's just, my problem is exercise. But this is what's leading us on to today, to alternative therapies, isn't it? Like what you're saying. So
yeah, so
I'm going to let you fire away here.
Obviously, for those of you on medication, as I am on as well, it's always important to listen to your health professionals, speak to your GP about that. So this isn't anti-medication or pro-medication. This is just about other ways of taking care of our mental health, whether you've got particular mental health issues. But at the end of the day, we've all got mental health. And Dan and I found our way walking around the moon. Now, we were a bit sceptical on his honeymoon, weren't we, when we saw this activity walking around the moon? But me being weird and you being equally weird.
Well, I'm thinking, are we going to get to jump in a NASA spaceship here in Dominican and fly up to the moon and have a quick trot round?
Be a good bargain of a holiday if we did.
Yeah.
Old Richard Branson.
Yeah, go on, get your Branston out. Let's go.
But we ended up at this place walking around the moon. There was a pool in the middle, and they had set up all this crystal therapy, crystal healing. There was numerical healing. There was gong therapy, sound therapy. meditation, and then you could also look up at the moon with an astrologist.
I'm exactly like you guys now. When she's going crystal therapy, gong therapy, reading all this, I'm thinking, what in the world am I going to hear? The things that you do for love, that's all I can say. And I'm thinking, right, so I said to you, didn't I? Yep, come on, love. If that's what you want to do, we'll go along. And I was sceptical.
Yeah.
I was like, here we go. We're gonna be sat in a field with a load of hippies, you know, chanting whatever and supposedly making us feel good.
Yeah.
But this has happened to me on a few occasions with Sophie, where she's taken me to these weird and wonderful things which I would associate with, you know, weird and wonderful people. And I've gone and I've absolutely loved it. So,
like you with your forest bathing as well. You loved that, didn't you?
That, you know, once I got into it, I walked to that and I thought, what is this? Standing in a wood sniffing. I look a bit weird here. But, you know, once you stood there and you're listening to nature, and then when I opened my eyes, I did actually hear and see things that I would have just usually walked past with dog. Walk through woods, bang, you through woods, you're gone. You're not looking at out. But if you just stand and take it in and have a look round, you can hear things. You can hear rustling in bushes. You can hear birds tweeting. I could hear and see squirrels going all over the place, and I was following them, and I was like, wow, I'd never seen this little bit of nature, because a lot of people are on a, you're on one button. You get up and you just do what you've got to do, and you're on a go fast, go slow, whatever. But it's A to B.
Yeah. And actually, it's people like you who need it more than most. But I think wellbeing professionals, me included, have done a disservice over time at not making it look that open and inclusive, that it's just for a certain demographic. And it's not at all, because I was really skeptical growing up. I had Reiki and also where I took like alternative therapies and stuff instead of mainstream. And at first I was like, Reiki, this basically is healing, like non-touch massage almost. And I was really skeptical about this energy healing. And I was just going through a really difficult process being a witness in court. And honestly, it transformed me. That really changed my mind. So when we were on honeymoon, I knew I've always wanted to try gong therapy. That's on my bucket list, believe it or not. So I was like, we're going to do it. And it was amazing because it was just relaxing. We just lay there and they do all these different sounds on the drums, and it helps to connect you. And it can be quite powerful and emotional, actually. It really tunes into you.
Well, so when Sophie said to me, gong therapy, I'm thinking, this is it. She's lost plot again. She's had too many Diet Cokes, too much yoga. What's she got me doing now? And you know what? It was so relaxing. We went there were incense sticks burning, and the lady that were doing it just had such a soothing voice.
Yeah. And
she was talking to you beforehand, and then you just laid down on a mat, shut your eyes, and you just listen.
And all the sound vibrations and different things you wouldn't normally notice.
And I'll be honest with you, it were weird, because again I thought, right, if I'm going to try this, I'm going to listen to what this lady says, and I'm going to open myself up, and I'm not going to sit here thinking it's some joke or whatever, because obviously they're serious about it. So I thought, open myself up to it. This, when you do these experiences, for me, if you're going to take part in these kind of things, that's what you need to do. So I did, and by heck, afterwards I said to you, I went, that was great. I like that, and I don't know what it was, but I felt it's like something in my core, something just sort of shifted, and I'd had a bit of a bad day that day, and I'd had a bit of a bad news from home, and I was trying to deal with that, and try and still be good on his holiday and stuff. And then that just sort of cleansed my mind, if you like, and just made me feel at ease, and it sort of relaxed. I would say doing that sort of relaxed my nerves.
Yeah. Because actually what's funny, we just had a conversation before that, because obviously those of you watching on YouTube, some of you listen and comment, and some of you watch and comment. More often than not, we're so lucky to have the support, but there'd been some comments, and I try not to let things get to me, but they'd really got to me because they were just really personal, people that I know. And it really just hurt me, because I just felt like, you're putting this out there. You deserve this, Sophie. And then it really got to me because it was quite personal. And that just, I said to you, didn't I? Because I was all getting like this, fuzzy-headed. And then when we went to that, I was like, oh, wait, no, I just need more time. grounding with like my inner self rather than just like online.
See,
or
how we
self.
see it is, and I'll try to explain to Sophie is, obviously I get my fair share of trolls about my weight and about different things, and I try to block it out, because for every 10 trolls there's that one person that's watching or listening that is in the same sort of position as us, or is sympathising with our life, and it gives people hope, it gives people something to do, it gives people that 20 minutes, half an hour to shut off and just listen to us. And it might not be relevant to your life, and it might be, but all I say is, and I keep saying this to you, and it costs nothing in life just to be kind. And if you're kind to people are kind back to you. And unfortunately, obviously, there's people in this world that are not kind, that think that they can sit there and troll and judge you. And it's like I've said before, with our life here, we do put it on here, and we do put our life on what we're doing on a daily basis. Me doing my takeaway, you doing fitness videos, and us doing Mr. and Mrs. Yorkshire. But it's 80% that we don't show you. So you're getting 20% of our life. We're not showing you the other 80% because that's personal to us. We're just showing you little snippets, all right, and people judge. And they're all right to judge. But sometimes it can be hurtful. But you found that gong therapy on that day, because I remembered it, and you were in a bit of a mix-up, and obviously I'd had a bit of bad news, so we were both a bit down, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Yeah. But then we got up and we moved on. And what was that next thing that we did?
So we did meditation, but kind of meditative prayer. So she gives you some paper, you write kind of what your prayer is for the future, your big wish for the future, and then she prays on it, and then she burns it, and then you lie there while she's meditating and you're meditating, and that was really spectacular, wasn't it?
So obviously some of this stuff that you've done before, you haven't done the gong, but like meditation that you've done, obviously me being me, it's not something I've done, and I've been very sceptical about it. Because I think, it's just a waste of time. You can do that at home, you can just shut your eyes and go to sleep. But actually, the way that it's presented to you and the surroundings that you're in make you feel comfortable, made me feel safe. The item that I wrote down and she burnt was something that I wanted to happen. So then it makes you feel about that. So you have that 5-10 minutes to chill and think about that specific thing. And again, I found it wonderful. And you know what? Out of all this, all the things that's going on in my life, all the upset that I've had, the turmoil that we've been in, the things that's come out of this most for me is when it comes to alternative therapy. I think the main alternative therapy is just to try different things in life and embrace life. All right? And if somebody says, do you fancy having a go at this? Have a go.
Definitely.
There's nothing wrong with giving something a try.
And the amount of times so many of you comment or messages saying, I've tried everything, it's not working. And whilst you've done well at trying, and I know it can be soul destroying when things don't feel like they're working, but I always say it's a bit like dating. You have to try a number of different therapists and different therapies and see what works for you, because you never know what's around the corner. Yeah. And we've both been in some of the darkest places.
So you were trying to get me to do yoga, weren't you? And saying to me, do yoga. And I outright said, there's a pool here. I would rather swim in the pool, stretch my legs in there and do a bit of movement in there. Because me being a big lad, sat down on the floor, doing all that kind of stuff, it ain't going to be good for my body, I don't think. It might be, I don't know. But mentally, it was just stressing me out, the thought of doing it. And I know, so some things you might not be able to do, because you might, if it's a meditation class with other people, you might be somebody that suffers from anxiety of being around other people. So look for it, for alternative, look for it online.
Yeah, and the great thing with meditation, people think, oh, well, I may as well just go to sleep, but it's actually active rest.
Yeah.
Because you're clearing your mind, so you're actually being quite active even though you're lying there still. And it can be really hard with anxiety. So for many years...
So, I just want to touch on this. So we had a situation whilst we were away, and which we're not going to talk about yet, but Sophie were in a situation, she was quite upset. So I put Gong therapy on. Remember?
Yeah, you did. I forgot that.
and we both laid there and listened to this Gong on YouTube. And you know what? For those 5 minutes, it did sort of chill out as well.
It did.
It chilled out the situation and put a bit of calming in. And that's from learning about that probably 3 days prior that it was. So again, you know, you don't have to go to an actual therapist. You can get some of this stuff, you know, online classes or free on YouTube or whatever. And I just wanted to just put that in there because obviously at that time you were full of anxiety, and I remember putting it on and just saying to you, look, just try and listen to this and chill out. And then afterwards she's going, where did you get that from? YouTube, love.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you have to try things, and you change, we all change over time. So in the past, human touch would not have been comforting to me at all, but now, like, I'm more open to it. So I couldn't like lie down and meditate in the past because my brain was way too frazzled. I had to walk and meditate or run and meditate. I had to be active to meditate because my brain was just too much, and I was going through so much trauma that I just couldn't like process it, and actually it was dangerous for me just to be still. But that's where you do need to get professional help, where I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. But then what was interesting, because when I was anxious, I was in a lot of physical pain as well. And the one thing that also soothed me was having you hug me. It was really weird. So forget all the different machines that there are and whatnot. Being with someone who you love and you feel safe with, having them like hug you or like touch that area or whatever, it's amazing the power of like human touch and love. And
it's human touch, love, and sometimes just talk as well. So I know I was saying to you, so we have somebody that does a bit of moderating on those other channels, and you know, thankfully we got to meet her on, I don't want to say her name, but we got to meet her at my wedding. And then so we're saying big love, and I phoned her up the other day, and I saw her at gym, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to give her a ring. Now, prior to this lady's been a moderator on my channel for a good 2.5 years, and I've just communicated with her via message. Never met her, never spoke to her in person. And then when I met her at my wedding, what a lovely lady she is, absolutely lovely, and her husband as well. And I just had this urge just to call her. So I messaged her, have you got your phone number? And I phoned her up. And bless her, she's having a bit of a tough time at the minute. And I was just trying to, you know, again, me being humour, saying, oh, blinking heck, you better not blame that on me watching my videos. But again, you know, we had a good chat, and I'm glad I did, because I felt like, you know, it's probably something that she needed. She might disagree, but I think she just needed somebody who's familiar to her to sometimes just phone up and just go, right, love, how are you doing? So, you know, she's got my number now, and I said to her, if she ever needs to chat, give us a ring, drop us a message. You know, probably phone Sophie because I'm always busy.
I know, I've got a number now, I've texted.
But that's what I'm saying. When you're saying about you just needed that hug, sometimes you just need to hear the voice of somebody that you trust, or, you know, somebody that genuinely cares. So always reach out.
Yeah,
always
definitely.
Reach out.
And even on his YouTube channel, I noticed some people comment, I won't obviously mention your names, but like saying, I feel hopeless, nobody cares. And then suddenly they've got loads of people replying. Yeah. And I think that's what we've got to focus on, is human kindness, because people, even if they don't know you, care. Yeah. And we do focus on the negative. And I had that moment before I did this Gong therapy where I was kind of trapped in this negative because it had really hurt me.
But even with that, when we were talking about that, and we were talking about the trolls, and like I say to you, and I say sometimes you've got to think of it as that, you know, these people, they may be a cry for help from them, because they're looking at us either as a couple or individually, and they could be jealous of what we are, who we are, where we've got in life. They could be thinking, why can't I talk and speak out like that? So they do it in different ways, and they want to be noticed in different ways. So I always say to them, you know, if you want to have a chat, drop me a private message, and I'll get back to you and we'll talk about it. And that's not being like, drop me a private message and I'll have you. It's genuine. And I've had it with one guy, and I've messaged him back, and I've said to him, you know, if you're feeling this way, I can chat with you, I can talk to you, you know, but, you know, let's not do it through abusive messages. Let's open up a dialogue and let's chat normal. And it's working. It's all right. It's good. And then I've had another guy that's a troll and moaning about being trolled, because he's a troll, and I'm like, look, mate, that's down to you. I've tried to help you,
Yeah.
and and it's that. But you do need people that care. So like alternative therapy, for me is one, try everything, and two, if there's people around you, talk to them, chat with them. You might have a mate who does all this kind of stuff, like me. All right. Or
I was just thinking, because you haven't tried face yoga yet.
Face yoga?
Yeah, yoga. I've got loads of stuff to show you.
Is that what you do? Face yoga?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I can't
face
do
yoga.
that. See, this is it. So
Nice
some
bit of
things will just make
self-care.
me laugh. You'll do it in minute?
Yeah.
No, you can't do that to yourself in minute. Hey up.
Why do you think my relatives all look so young?
Well, because that's what they do.
Yeah. Face yoga is really big in Southeast Asia.
So in Southeast Asia, every morning they go.
And we're doing facial
go.
exercises for
There you
those
go.
listening. You can tune into his YouTube on Mama May to watch this back mental health podcast. No, mental health gym. I'm forgetting the name. I'm already on pufferfish face yoga movements.
Pufferfish face yoga movements, right? Here we go.
But just touching back on to finish off with your forest therapy that you enjoyed.
Yes.
What was it that you enjoyed about it?
So I remember it distinctively that, so like the guy's telling me, we stood in the part of the forest and he's talking about trees and how they communicate and all this and other, and he's talking about nature. And whilst he's doing this, he's asked me and you to close our eyes and take some deep breaths. And we're like, I think we're like 2 minutes or something like that. And then he says, when you open your eyes, you can stand still or you can walk about. And I actually, because you were talking about when you walk through a forest, look up. Because the trees are waving to each other, but they never touch. And I'm like, what are you on about? And he's saying, if you look, they'll be in the wind, they'll be blowing in the wind, but they never touch each other. So I'm like, right, what a weirdo. And this is what I was thinking. And then when I opened my eyes, I walked, 10 yards away from me, if you can remember. And I stood under this tree and I was looking up and I was breathing and I was listening, I was watching squirrels. And then all of a sudden, I just felt this emotion. This big, it was like a big ball in my stomach, just a big ball of emotion, and it just sort of went whoa. And the only thing I can describe it is when you're watching, I don't know, Ghostbusters or something, and you see like a spirit leave the body. It was like that, but with my emotion, it just went whoa, because I could see and hear and everything. I could see the trees waving. I could see the squirrels. I could smell the leaves and smell the earth. And hear everything, and it just made me feel so free. And afterwards, I'm sat thinking, I remember talking to my mum, and mum's going, what's that been doing?
Yeah, forest bathing.
What's all this hippie stuff that's been doing? What's all this that's been doing in woods? And I'm like, Mum, do you know what? It's worked for me. It's worked for me. And, I don't go every day. I don't do all this, but it's like when we were on holiday, and I said to you, I said, oh, look, trees, forest bathing. It's just something
and
now.
And that really tapped into you. It didn't work as powerfully for me as it did you, but there was something, and it was amazing watching on in a way how great that worked for you.
I mean, on part of it, I think the only part that I would have been dubious about is when he says, right, lay down on the floor, and there were like just loads of leaves. Lay down on the floor and put your hands into the leaves. Lay there and just relax. So I'm laid there with my hands in these leaves, and I'm thinking, all dogs have been through here and peed on leaves. I'm lading them, flicking them about. So that's what was in my mind then. So I couldn't relax. I could see all the trees and that, but I was just thinking of the fact that I'm sat here rustling away in leaves. That dogs are, we're right on dog trail. And I'm thinking, I'm either laid in dog poo or, so like first thing I did when I got up, I said to you, am I all right? Have I got it on my back? Because I thought, I'm going to be in dog weight here. What's going on?
It's like your food hygiene person.
But the walking on the moon thing, once we'd done the therapies as well, they had these massive telescopes, they were huge. They were about as big as my belly, I'm telling you. And you look through, and it wasn't obviously pointed up to the moon. And that is the first time, without seeing it on a picture or TV, that I've seen the moon that close up. And it was amazing, wasn't it?
It was. It really helped to connect.
The telescope
and
was
see
really powerful.
To see the bigger picture. I think that's what alternative therapies, it really tunes you in.
Yeah.
So we'd love to know if you've ever tried any unique therapies and what's worked for you, what's not. because it's nice to be able to share, because as we say, we're not professionals, but it's nice to have that peer-to-peer support of what's worked for us, and, oh, I wasn't up for this, but I tried it and then it really was powerful. And I'm thinking today, what I've done, Dan doesn't know, but each month he is having a bit of a relaxing day, because Dan behind the
chilling
scenes.
out today. Bacon sandwich, feet up, watching a movie.
Kind of. You can start with your bacon sandwich, although I was going to change it to like a grilled mushroom and tomato. But today we are going for a nice massage and facial.
Ooh, see, that's another thing. So I'd never had none of this before meeting you. And I'm like, oh, I don't fancy somebody rubbing me up. You know, get him up bed and start rubbing me back about. I don't fancy all that. And then you took me to a spa, didn't you? Oh, by heck. Oh, I'm like, is that it? Are you sure you're finished, mate? Do you want to get back on, pal, and rub it again? Because, again, that just relaxed me, and I was a bit, oh, no, I don't want somebody massaging my feet or all like that. But, my God.
Yeah, and seeing the difference, like, because I've done this for quite a while now, so I'm quite used to stuff, but seeing the difference in you from when you go in to have a massage to then come out and you just see literally your face, just all that stress melt away.
Yeah.
So I've got that booked in for today. Our friend Jenny, she does reflexology.
Right.
So she's going to come around one day as well.
Was that with feet?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you're still... I still want you to try it, though, because there's all these different pressure points on your feet.
But I'm too ticklish.
No, well, if it's done right, though, it doesn't tickle. It's like I was like that with massage.
As soon as you touch it, I don't know about this one.
I'll try it. I'm going to watch a YouTube and try reflexology on you later, because I'm having it done. But whatever
you're a monster munch.
I know.
We're there all day with our feet.
But yeah, just go and try it, honestly, and let us know, what you think about things. There's also lots of services that offer it for free. There's a lot of amazing people, healers out there, that will do services complimentary if you can't afford it. But just try things. Yeah. And even if you're just banging on Gong therapy on YouTube, you don't have to go different. Find someone doing Gong therapy right now.
Just relax.
Just try it.
Shut your eyes, embrace it, listen to the vibrations. See,
there you are.
Properly getting into it.
You're going to have to start an ASMR channel.
I'll do it.
Yeah. There you are.
Well, that brings the gym to an end this week.
It is. So, time for you to cool down and let us know what you think. Thank you so much again.
Be kind, be safe, and talk.
Peace, love, and shimmies. See you soon, guys.
See you soon, guys.